So, apparently beer cocktails are a thing now. No, I know what you're thinking already. A shandy isn't a cocktail. You put things in beer that weren't there originally. That's a cocktail. So calm down. Beer cocktails have existed for absolutely ages, which honestly raises an important question. Who was the first lunatic to look at a perfectly good pint and think, you know what this needs? Champagne, or tomato juice, or whiskey dropped into it from a great height. And today we're diving into the weird, glorious and occasionally criminal world of beer cocktails. We'll be talking Victorian morning beer, spicy tomato lager, drinks invented by miners, cider mixed with lager, Guinness and champagne, and at least one beverage that sounds like a dare lost in a Punjabi prison. And somehow, people drink these voluntarily.
It's Monday, don't groan, don't fear. The Bearded Beer Blog bloke is here. Talking nonsense, beard on show. Grab a brew and watch him go.
Let's get started gently, shall we? The gateway drug. The beer cocktail your nan drinks in a pub garden. The shandy. Now, according to the official definition, a shandy is basically a beer mixed with lemonade or citrus drink. And British people act like this is perfectly normal. Oh yes, Nigel, I'd love half a lager and half Sprite because apparently I'm 8 years old. Oh, lovely on a warm day. No, it isn't, but yes it is. I'm so confused. It's emotional confusion in a pint glass. It even used to be called shandygaff, which sounds less of a drink and more like a Victorian insult. Remove yourself from my property immediately, you absolute shandygaff. But here's the thing. I actually like shandy. I know, and so do you. Just don't pretend you don't. Because on a hot day, ice cold lager, bit of lemonade, low ABV, goes down easier than common sense in a political debate. Now, this next one is fucking mental. The Black Velvet. Half stout, half champagne, which sounds like somebody got drunk at a wedding and started experimenting. According to stories, it was invented in London in 1861 after the death of Prince Albert. The barman supposedly declared that even the champagne should be in mourning. That is simultaneously the classiest and most depressing thing I have ever heard. Imagine being at a royal mourning event and somebody hands you that. Terribly sorry for your loss, Your Majesty. Would you care for some fizzy Guinness? And somehow, it survived. Because British drinking culture will mix literally anything if you leave us unsupervised long enough. You know someone discovered this accidentally? Oi mate, I dropped my Guinness in the Prosecco. Don't waste it. And now it's considered classy. That is branding. Now we arrive at the drink that divides humanity, the Michelada. Beer, lime, salt, hot sauce, Worcestershire sauce, sometimes tomato juice, sometimes clam juice. Clam juice! At what point did beer stop being beer and become seafood soup? But people love these things. People talk about Micheladas like they've discovered enlightenment. You simply must try this layered umami profile. No mate, you've poured condiments into a lager. But apparently they're absolutely brilliant hangover cures, which honestly makes sense, because if I woke up hungover and someone had me a pint of spicy fish lager, I'd immediately become distracted from a hangover. I don't think it'd cure the problem, it would just replace it with confusion. Ah yes, Snakebite. Lager and cider mixed together, which sounds innocent until you remember British pubs. Snakebite is one of those drinks with a reputation. Not because it's sophisticated, not because it's refined, but because historically it's associated with bad decisions, sticky carpets, and some arsehole shouting, "Play Wonderwall!" You know exactly who I mean. But yeah, it kinda works, because cider sweetness plus lager crispness is weirdly drinkable. And this is a recurring problem with modern beer cocktails. You mock them, and then you try one, and suddenly you're Googling recipes at 3:30 on a Tuesday morning. Oh, now this next one is peak human laziness. A whiskey shot dropped into a beer. The Boilermaker. Beer and whiskey. That's it. Sometimes you drink the whiskey and then chase it with beer. Sometimes you drop the shot into the beer, which feels less like a cocktail and more like industrial machinery. It apparently became associated with miners after shifts in Montana in the late 1890s. And honestly, that tracks. Because if you spent more than 12 hours underground inhaling dust and fighting rocks, you're not going to be ordering an elderflower spritz, are you? Just launch whiskey into my lager and leave me alone. The Boilermaker is the drink equivalent of eating beans from a tin, using duct tape as home decor, or calling every tool a hammer. Now, the deeper I went into research for this, the worse it got. At some point, beer's become the culinary equivalent of WD-40. People are just chucking everything into it. Would serve like a lager infused with smoke, chili, pickle brine, and existential dread. And the thing is, craft beer culture absolutely encourages this. Because craft beer people hear, this contains mango, chili, sea salt, cacao nibs, and smoked roseberry, and react like it's poetry. And here's the annoying bit though, some of these are genuinely good. I hate admitting it, but a cool shandy in summertime? Lovely. A properly made Michelada? Weirdly refreshing. A black velvet? Surprisingly smooth. Even Snakebite works. But only because humans are chaos goblins. That is why. We looked at beer, already one of humanity's greatest inventions, and collectively decided this needs more shenanigans. And honestly, I kinda respect that. So now I need to know, what is the weirdest beer cocktail you have ever tried? And if you say lager and blackcurrant, you're blocked. If you enjoyed this absolute descent into fizzy madness, hit like, subscribe, and send this to someone who thinks putting foot in beer is a personality. I'll see you next time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go off and try some Guinness and champagne.